Support comes from
Entergy provides much more than power. We support science and engineering at local schools to build a brighter path to better jobs and help prepare the next generation. Because together, we power life. Entergy.
Additional support provided by the Fred B. and Ruth B. Ziegler Foundation and the Ziegler Art Museum located in Jennings City Hall. The museum focuses on emerging Louisiana artists and is an historical and cultural center for Southwest Louisiana. And the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting, with support from viewers like you.
The Brown Pelican is the canary in the coal mine.
The state bird comeback facing another threat.
After her death, I recognized how much suicide is a crisis in America.
Opening the doors of suicide prevention.
They have this opportunity of leaving school with a skill and taking that skill and using it to make a living with.
High school students spending summers in career training.
It's a great tool to have in our toolkit.
A tool that helps Louisiana lead the nation. Hi everyone, I'm Andre Morrow. Much more on those stories in a moment. But right now, on this week's edition of SWI, a look at other Louisiana stories making headlines. Louisiana homeowners who took out SBA disaster loans after the 2016 floods would no longer be penalized from receiving Restore Louisiana grants under federal legislation revised Wednesday. The bill seeks to loosen so-called duplication of benefits restrictions for people looking to rebuild and has now cleared a key hurdle in the legislative process. Senator Bill Cassidy says the bill, if passed, would fix, quote, some dumb quirk in the law, end quote.
It makes no sense for these folks trying to do the right thing, doing what they're told, to then be denied access to a Restore Louisiana Recovery Grant.
In Ascension Parish, the school board is getting almost $6.1 million from FEMA for repairs to Sanama High School, damaged in the August 2016 floods. The school was among tens of thousands of homes and businesses damaged or destroyed during the 2016 catastrophe. Work is set to begin in late August on a solution to the daily traffic problems near the Mississippi River Bridge in the Capital Region. The groundbreaking of a new interchange on Interstate 110 in downtown Baton Rouge is being called a game changer. The $8.8 million plan will create a new exit to alleviate traffic trying to enter I-10. The state's jobless rate inched up from 4.6 to 4.7% in numbers from May. It was the unemployment rate's third straight monthly increase. The U.S. unemployment rate in June rose to 4%, up from May's 3.8%. The price tag for 3 special sessions by the Louisiana legislature exceeds $1.5 million. The February, May, and June sessions covered 36 days. The governor called the sessions as lawmakers struggled to agree how to solve the fiscal cliff. A federal judge in Shreveport has cleared the way to have a Confederate memorial removed outside the Caddo Parish courthouse. This comes a year after 4 monuments to the Confederate era were removed from the New Orleans landscape. There is good news again for the state economically, and LED's Fast Start Workforce Training Program. It's been named #1 in the country for the 9th consecutive year by Business Facilities magazine. Now, the state also earned top 10 state rankings in several other categories. You know, a report like this is in sharp contrast to many other rankings, from education to quality of life to business, that rank our state near the bottom. So here to cut through what all these rankings mean and explain to us a little bit about them and give us an update on Louisiana's eco-development picture is LED Secretary Don Pierson. What exactly is Fast Start? Just a brief summary of what that is, why it's been so successful.
So Fast Start is the best workforce training program in the nation for the 9th year in a row, as you've mentioned. We have have a workforce commission. It does a great job for individuals. It harnesses a lot of federal programs, and that's where a person can go to help get back into the workforce. Fast Start is something completely different. Fast Start is focused on providing the corporation, either a new one or an expanding one here in Louisiana, with the workforce that they need. And we do that better than anyone else in the nation.
So it sounds like that's been essential to entice companies to come here when you make your pitch.
Absolutely. It's a great tool to have in our toolkit because incentives are going to be important to a company. Location, market, where are their raw materials, where is their finished product going, the transportation infrastructure, all these things go into the equation. But the workforce is a key component, and we have an advantage when we go up against competition because we have Fast Start, and it does a great job for us.
Some other good things, Don. Business Facilities also listing Lake Charles #1 mid-size city for job growth, Baton Rouge #5 in agriculture bioscience, and 8th in industry diversity. New Orleans, Hammond, Shreveport, Bossier, and Gramercy's foreign trade zone all got regional honors. So let me ask you, though, why then does U.S. News and World Report rank Louisiana 50th as the worst state overall to live, only 44th in jobs, 38th in best state for growth potential, not numbers you want to have? Why the extreme dichotomy there?
Certainly, whenever you read the rankings, you need to look behind that to who's making the rankings. Certainly, U.S. News and World Report, very credible. Okay, but what are they putting into the data sets that they're analyzing? And things that hold us back: education, healthcare, things that we're working on. The governor's signature Medicaid expansion opportunity, bringing healthcare to people that need it, are going to help us rise in those numbers.
What is your biggest asset to selling Louisiana, briefly?
Well, we have great fundamentals. We have a gateway to the global economy because we're blessed with so many ports. We've got abundant natural resources. Our agriculture, our forestry industries are huge. Our oil and gas, we're the #2 national producer of oil and gas. So we have strengths built in through the grace of God and Mother Nature. We have great logistics pathways, and as the global economy expands, having access to that global economy through our port system is a key factor.
And biggest obstacle?
Well, the obstacles are always that projects can go anywhere, and you do have to compete. And when you're competing, one of the things that's most critical to business and industry, whether it's expanding here in Louisiana or a new company coming in, is certainty. And as you know, we've struggled on the front to get back to a point of fiscal certainty, which we now have, and the state is set to accelerate. We've got great momentum right now. That's projected in our figures. More people working in the state of Louisiana than any time in the past decade. We have over 2 million people at work, and the wages are rising. You're seeing us attract companies like Shintech's expansion.
Well, you mentioned that Shintech expansion. I want to talk about that a bit. The announcement of nearly $1.5 billion of an expansion to their plant on the west side of the Mississippi River. Maybe they should be partnering in the building of an eventual new bridge across the river.
Well, that's a great idea. We'll continue to have a conversation with them about that. But what the point of these great jobs that are coming into the state, that are companies that are here that see the benefit in expanding those rising wages. We're having success in advanced chemical manufacturing. We're having success in the IT sector all around the state, you know, with CGI in Lafayette, with DXC in New Orleans, GT IT up in Shreveport, Bossier, CenturyLink over in Monroe. These jobs are well-paying jobs, and a whole array of businesses are impacted when we have these success stories.
And do you want to use this platform to announce anything else for us right now?
Well, I'm really proud of the accreditation of our department. We are now the only state in America with an accredited State Department of Economic Development. We've been through a very extensive audit of our performance, of our budgets, of the way that we, our accountability, our transparency, and awarded a very special designation. And I think the message there is to the taxpayers and also to the consultants and the corporations that evaluate us is that Louisiana Economic Development is doing a great job out there.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Always good to talk to you, Don. You'd think the last thing that most kids want to do over the summer is spend the day in a classroom. But LPB's Kelly Spires met with some children who are in class this summer intentionally. And Kelly, they're happy about it. So what's the deal with this?
Well, Andre, as you know, summer school is typically associated with remedial education, but some school districts wanted to do something different. They asked, what if summers could be used to get students ahead in career development? A program called Jumpstart Summers was born. This is what summer school looks like in Assumption Parish. Students are getting a jump start on their careers.
See how you got a lot of your ripples in your bead? You're moving way too quickly. So slow it down where you can actually see it. That's why I told you, turn your machine up a little bit more and then slow the travel speed down a little bit.
Alvin LeGlue has been welding for over 25 years. He says he wants to use that knowledge to give high school students a leg up on their own professions.
When I got out of school, I had no skill at all. I had to start off from a welder helper way at the bottom and work my way up the ladder. Now these students with Jumpstart and everything, they have this opportunity of leaving school with a skill and taking that skill and using it to make a living with.
You might think of summer school as a time for students to make up classes they failed during the school year. But a new program called Jumpstart Summers is making use of summer downtime for job training. It's in its second year.
It's a great opportunity to come and learn more about the trade and get experience to go out in the field and work.
Javen Southall is a rising senior, and he comes from a family of welders. Like others in the program, he's been taking welding classes throughout high school, starting with safety classes in the 9th grade. The summer program starts early in the morning. You might expect a high schooler to want to spend that time sleeping late.
I'd rather do this because it's something I like to do. I love welding, so I'd rather be doing this.
Southall will be ready for the Level 1 welding test at the end of the course, and he'll get to focus on Level 2 training during his last year at high school. That means he'll be ready to weld pipes when he graduates. That's the idea, according to Ken Bradford, who oversees the program at the state level.
They'll get that internship experience this summer, but then when they return for their senior year, now they can start working on an advanced welding certificate. And so it's giving them more time in their high school experience to work on that industry-based credential that is recognized by our industry partners in the state.
Over 40 school systems have programs of their own, and not all students are learning to weld. Jumpstart allows schools in each region of the state to team up with industry partners, so students will learn skills depending on occupational needs in the area. In New Orleans, for example, students are learning coding.
Students that are participating with Operation Spark in New Orleans will actually go to, for instance, the Operation Spark facility, and they will go into a computer lab and they will learn programming and coding.
But all of the programs have 4 things in common, Bradford says.
The students will earn high school Carnegie credit, so they get a unit for a course offering that will be put on their high school transcript that can count towards graduation. They will also have a job internship or job shadowing experience. The students will earn an industry-based credential as part of participating.
And they earn a stipend ranging from $100 to over $2,000, depending on the program. Funding for Jumpstart Summers comes from an existing pool of money school districts get for classes outside typical hours. About 1,500 students participated this year, and Bradford, of course, hopes the program will keep growing.
I think what the department looks for is the spirit of the Jumpstart program is that it's business and industry, local school systems, and post-secondary coming together to help students identify a career pathway which will provide them a pathway to prosperity.
LeGlue says the earlier they get started, the sooner they can be on their way to becoming an expert welder like him.
So you have to know what you're looking at, you have to listen for what you're listening for, and you have to feel it. You have to get the touch of it. They have to do it themselves.
Jumpstart Summers is just one component of a larger career training initiative called Jumpstart. Students pick a career like welding in high school and take courses during the school day. Students I spoke with in Assumption said summer is such a great opportunity to take this course in particular because they can spend hours at a time practicing their welds rather than just a school class period.
And it really jumpstarts their careers.
It really does,
the name
Andre.
says.
Yeah.
Kelly, yeah, thanks so much for that.
Now, 50 years after the reintroduction of our state bird, the brown pelican, the pelicans are offering a warning sign about the health of Louisiana's vanishing coast. Photographer Rex Q. Fortenberry takes us to Queen Bess Island, that's near Grand Isle, for this report.
Today we're at Queen Bess Island. Queen Bess Island was the first island we reintroduced brown pelicans to from Florida, and that was in 1968. In the 1950s and 60s, there was a popular pesticide that was used throughout the United States called DDT. And as DDT got into our waterways and made its way to coastal Louisiana, it ended up in a lot of our fisheries, and the pelicans feed on fish. And that insecticide was more or less what they call bioaccumulated in the bird, and it led to reproductive failure in brown pelicans. So the number of pelicans throughout the 50s and 60s declined over time. 1961, we documented the last nesting brown pelican in Louisiana. And by 1963, the pelican was virtually gone from Louisiana. So the state bird of the pelican state was gone in 1963. So a group of biologists from the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries teamed up with our partners in Florida, went out and caught baby birds from the Atlantic coast of Florida and brought them right here to Queen Bess in 1968. And by 1971, we had our first new nesting birds in Louisiana right here on this very same island. And here we are today in 2018, 50 years later, celebrating the anniversary of that restoration effort. A lot of what those guys did in 68, early 60s, 68 through 76, was a pilot project. There's a whole lot of uncertainty whether it's ever going to work. And you can see by what we have looked at today, it was a very successful project.
We brought pelicans to Queen Bess Island. We brought pelicans to North Island and the Chandeleur Islands. We reintroduced pelicans at Isle of Petrie. Then in 1981, we took pelicans from this colony at Queen Bess and moved them to Last Island, which otherwise known as Raccoon Point, to try and reestablish the brown pelican in its historical range in Louisiana. It is, as you can see, an immensely successful program. Took a bird that had been extirpated from the state and have now got 100,000 birds in Louisiana.
We're at about 2,000 nesting pairs here at Queen Bess of brown pelicans. The peak was around 4,000 nesting pairs, but really it's because the habitat, especially the middle of the island, has subsided so much. It's now so low that it's filled with water, and a lot of the mangroves have died back. So the birds have just lost a lot of nesting habitat.
This island was the center of the restoration efforts. It was the crux that led to all the other restoration. At the mouth of the Mississippi River on the mud lumps, and at the spoil area off of Baptiste Colette, Grand Gosier, Breton Island, North Island, all these different colonies that we have all over the state that have come and gone and are still here. Still the crux, the centerpiece is this island, which is Queen Bess. This is where it started, and this is what we need to maintain.
So this particular colony was impacted by a lot of Deepwater Horizon oil from the oil spill. A lot of our pelicans unfortunately succumbed to that, as well as other birds like herons and terns and gulls. So the idea is this island, because of that oil spill, the damage it got from that, and also from subsidence and other types of factors, the island is almost a shell of what it once was. So, for example, the middle of the island is subsiding, and that used to all be pelican nesting habitat. So the idea is to create an island on top of this island. We're using this as the bed, basically. We're going to put sediment on top of this island and do some replanting. And we're going to create habitat for brown pelicans, tricolored herons, reddish egrets, royal terns, black skimmers, etc. It's going to be quite the colony. Hopefully back to what it was several years ago.
The project that we have planned in coordination with and in partnership with Louisiana Wildlife and Fisheries has to do with reinforcing the berm around the area, and this 36 acre area and building it up to maintain that nesting area. And so it's a great project, $17.5 million. We hope to really start working it by probably September of next year. This is coming through the state with use of BP dollars. We are using monies from the BP oil spill, the settlement, that are specifically designated and allocated towards bird habitats.
We have engineering and design that's currently ongoing to restore this island. We currently have 5 acres of pelican habitat out here, and we're looking to restore up to 29 acres of habitat for birds out here. Some of which will be pelican, some of which will be tern and skimmer habitat. And so we want to kind of highlight that effort to show that the state of Louisiana, the Department of Interior, our other federal agency and colleagues are making a difference with those kinds of dollars. I just think this is a great example of how federal and state agencies collaboratively can deliver on coastal restoration. These are kind of places that we just agree upon. And it's real easy to see when we're doing good stuff like this, how we can have that vision of collaborating on all the coastal restoration issues that we have.
The brown pelican is the canary in the coal mine. The brown pelican is such an indicator of the health of wetlands and the health of our coastal zone. Brown pelicans almost exclusively feed on menhaden, and that's one of the reasons why they died, is because the menhaden ate the plankton, and the plankton was full of DDT. Then you had actual biological magnification of that in the birds that caused the extirpation of that population. So it's important that we have diversity of wildlife, and the brown pelican as a state bird of Louisiana, and as that canary in the coal mine, is most important to our ecology here in Louisiana.
The Louisiana brown pelican was removed as an endangered species almost a decade ago, and with meaningful restoration of Queen Bess Island and other coastal areas, well, there is hope that the bird can continue to thrive. Louisiana's suicide rate has risen more than 29% since 2000 among both men and women. A Centers for Disease Control and Prevention study that was released last month indicates that suicide rates rose in 49 states from 1999 to 2016 across all age groups, gender, and races. This month, Louisiana Public Square brought together family members, mental health experts, and a suicide survivor to examine ways of preventing suicide. Here's a clip.
I'm Barney Lejeune. We lost our daughter, our only child, to suicide in 2014. As I mentioned, Andrea was 27. And after her death, I recognized how much suicide is a crisis in America. So I have been focusing all my resources on trying to prevent suicide and bringing help and healing to those who have lost loved ones to suicide.
Jesse was, like I said, he was 24 years old, young man. He had everything going for him. And he had a tattoo that said, "For you I will." And when he got that tattoo, I said, "What does that mean, son?" He said, "For you I will, Dad." He said, "If you need something done, I'll do it." And that's how he lived his life, was helping people. And now that's how I live my life, and I have the same tattoo on my wrist now, "For you I will." I'm his voice and the voice of others who's lost their life to suicide and those that struggle.
What is the biggest misconception about suicide? Biggest misconception? Danita, I'll start with you.
I think the biggest fear people have is that if we talk about suicide and ask about suicide, that we're somehow putting the idea in somebody's head. And the fact is, we're not that powerful, and they're generally already thinking about it.
I think one that I hear often is that suicide is caused by one thing. And maybe the thing that I hear the most is that suicide is just a bad case of depression. And what we've found is that, suicide can occur, and many suicides occur when depression symptoms are there, but the vast majority of folks who experience depression don't go on to attempt or die by suicide.
I guess one of the biggest misconceptions that I hear all the time is that you can pray suicide away, or you can pray mental health away. I'm a licensed ordained minister. I do have a diagnosis of PTSD, like you said earlier, 2-time suicide survivor.
Two-time suicide survivor.
The first time I was 13, ended up getting my stomach pumped. The next time I was 18, and I ended up in a mental hospital. The thing about that is that no one ever asked me, "Tanja, what happened to you?" They used to always ask me, "What the heck is wrong with you?"
They think that it's not preventable. Suicide is preventable. You have to talk about it and open the lines of communication so that they can see that you are concerned about them, you are interested, and that there is help.
My question is, so what are some warning signs that we can look for, either as friends or family members, as a mental health professional? You know, what are some things that we can look for?
Absolutely. You may hear thoughts like feeling like life isn't worth living. Maybe they might not say I'm actually suicidal, but just might say something like, I wish I wouldn't wake up tomorrow, or just wish this was all over. Sort of communicating that life is really painful in that moment, and maybe something like suicide could be a relief to that. You'll often hear thoughts like, I feel hopeless, I feel trapped.
Feelings of being a burden, that people around you are better off without you, and they are often firmly convinced that that is in fact the case. And very often they're in unbearable pain, and they often have some significant loss pretty close to the event.
You know, one of the things that I would want you to think about is keeping the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline number in your phones. And I know using phones for phone calls if you're under, 18 is kind of weird. I get that. But also there's crisis text line. I'm on the advisory board for that, and you can text 741-741. If you maybe encounter this in one of your friends, you wouldn't have to remember everything. You could have someone, well, not like this, but someone coach you about what to do. And I think that's a really great way to sort of hack suicide prevention.
As a reminder, remember you can view the entire program, this important program, online, as well as explore local and national suicide prevention resources at lpb.org/public square. Preventing Suicide also re-airs this Sunday at 11 a.m. And that's our show for this week, everyone. Remember, you can watch LPB on demand on your phone or tablet with our LPB Anywhere app. The download is free from your app store. You can catch LPB news and public affairs shows and other Louisiana programs that you've come to enjoy over the years. And also, please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For everyone at Louisiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Andre Morrow. Thanks for watching. Until next time, that's the state we're in.
Support comes from
Entergy provides much more than power. We support science and engineering at local schools to build a brighter path to better jobs and help prepare the next generation. Because together, we power life. Entergy.
Additional support provided by the Fred B. and Ruth B. Ziegler Foundation and the Ziegler Art Museum located in Jennings City Hall. The museum focuses on emerging Louisiana artists and is an historical and cultural center for Southwest Louisiana. And the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting, with support from viewers like you.